Once again, we're still really mostly reviewing. Talking about the slope of a line and parallel lines. Slope, by definition, is your vertical change divided by your horizontal change. Okay? Now, with that in mind, in an XY coordinate plane, what is represented by vertical? So let's put change in our what? Y's over change. What is horizontal? X's. Remember, I'm thinking of the XY coordinate plane, right? Here's your x-axis, there's your what? You guys know what the word change basically means in mathematics. If 5 changed to 3, how much did 5 change? How did you get that? You subtracted, didn't you? You guys may not realize that, but in essence, the change is how much is subtraction, because it tells you how much it changed, right? If 10 changed to 5, how much did it change? You subtracted 10 changed to 7, 3. So we're going to replace change with the word subtract. Subtract your y's over what? Subtract your x's. That's how you find slope. Now, the reason that's not in every book in the world, and the reason you see this, tell me if this looks familiar. Y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The reason you see that is because what the y2 and the y1 represents is saying, if you put the y coordinate for this point up first, you have to put the corresponding what? X component the x that goes with it. You can't go y2 minus y1 over x1 minus x2. You see the point I'm making? So with that in mind, if you make sure your x's and y's corresponded, isn't that much easier to think of? If I ask you to find the slope points, and I said that point A was 5, 4, and point A, point B, and let's make it 3, 1. Don't worry about this complicated thing, just worry about that simplistic thing. I mean, is that a hard concept? What do you think, Mr. Hoffman? No? Good. What do I need to do? Subtract my what? What are my two y's?
4 and 1.
So the slope, which, by the way, you use for m, you guys should remember that. Subtract my y's. What were my y's? My y's were 4 and what? And I what? Subtract them. What are my x's? Now, this is where it counts. It does matter which one you put first. Which x goes with that 4? The 5, right? Because that's the one, so that's your only hiccup to basically thinking of it as subtract your y's and subtract your x's. Keep, the corresponding x and y should be right above each other. So 5, what's my other x?
3.
So 5 minus 3. So your answer is 3 over what?
2.
Now, with slope, do not leave it as a mixed number. Leave it as a simplified improper fraction. Because this number up here means something, right? That means up 3 over what? There's the slope of that line. Everyone agree?
Yep.
It doesn't tell you anything. 1 1/2 doesn't tell you anything, does it, as far as slope is concerned? Because 1 1/2 is what the equivalent, 3 over 2 is, isn't it? So you want to leave that always as a reduced fraction. Now, what if you had decided to go the other way? What if you decided to put this y first? You don't need to write this down. What would it be? It would be 1 minus, what's the other y? Over, what is the other x? What is the x that goes with the 1? 3 minus what? 5. What would you have gotten? 1 minus 4 is what? Over, what is 3 minus 5? Did I get the same answer? You may, at first glance, you may say no, but you did. What is a negative divided by a negative?
Positive.
Did you get the same answer?
Yeah.
So does it matter? As long as you keep, like in this case, the 4 and the 5 together, and the 1 and the what? Important thing, if lines are parallel, then they have the exact same what? Slope. Another review thing. So if I say these two lines are parallel, what do you know about them? Their slopes are the same. Because the slope, think about it, the slope says how the line's kind of shaped, doesn't it? So it wouldn't make sense for them to be parallel. They need to be shaped different to where they eventually run into each other, right? If they're shaped exactly the same, then they're never going to run into each other, are they? Everybody got this down?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we'll do an example. It's going to say find the slope of the given function. Number 1. Now, here's what I want you to understand. I know some of you may be able to put 2 and 2 together and realize there is an easy way to say what the slope is. I want you to do it this way. Okay? First, pick 2 values for x to be. First thing I want you to do, let's make x equal to 0. Isn't that easy? and 1. Plug this into your function. To get y. So first thing I'm going to find is f's of what? What am I going to put in for x? So that would be 2 times what? 0 minus 10, which would equal what? Negative 10. Then I'm going to put in what? So it would be 2 times what? Which would be? By doing this, you've created 2 points on the line. What are the 2 points we've created? What was x in the first one? Everybody stop for a second. Make sure you get this. By putting 0 in, we're saying that's what x was, right? So when we put it into our function, what do we get for y? Now, our second one, what do we put in for x? When we put it into our function, what do we get for y? So you see how I created two points doing that? The last fourth thing, use these 2 points to find the slope. Subtract your y's. What are your y's? Negative 10 minus, and this is something to pay attention to. Pencils down, everybody look. I subtract my y's, right? So it's negative 10 minus, what is my y? Negative 8 over 0 minus what? What happens here? This becomes negative 10 what? Plus 8 over a negative 1. What does this become? Anybody? Negative 2 over a what? What's a negative divided by negative? Go ahead and leave it. I'm okay with you leaving it as 2 over 1. You can make it 2 if you want to. That's probably what it'll say in the back of the book. But then you know that from that point you go up 2 to the right 1, and you end up on it, don't you? Agreed? And you're done. You don't have to write down the steps, but I expect to see this, then this, then this, and then all of that. Do not skip steps here. I want to see you break that down. Everybody look at 15, 16, and 17. You're going to have to do those just like you did 6 through 14, it's just you're gonna have to find the slope for the one and then the slope for the other, and then show that you get what? The same thing, prove that they are parallel. Okay? That is your assignment. Make sure and write those notes down.